everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use your scraps to make this little envelope album that has photo mats and a journaling booklet. So this is a little photo booklet with a journal inside of it that is made out of a manila envelope. So it has a twine closure and it opens up, and on the inside it has a pocket on the front cover with a photo mat. It has a journaling booklet that has 8 pages in it, and then the back pocket has another photo mat inside of it. You can obviously add more photo mats. You can even add more journaling pages. It is removable, so the elastic holds it in, so you can put as many pages as you choose. The one thing you want to consider though is that you don't want it to be too thick where it's hard to close. And the back just has some paper on it. So we're going to make another one of these together. Since it is using scraps, it will not be the exact same paper, but it'll be the same exact design. The supplies that you'll need for this project include one manila envelope, and I am using a 6 by 9 inch envelope that I purchased at Dollar General. You get 8 in a package, so you need one of those. And I have my envelope here, and I will go through this in just a moment, but I have letters on the front and the back that correspond with the papers that we're going to cut. So if you have the envelope turned over where the flap is on the left, you're going to put an O and then a B and an F. So this stands for outside, back, and front. And then on the inside, you're going to put an L and an R, and on the flap, you're going to put an I for inside. We're going to score the envelope at 4.5 inches. And we'll fold that to make our booklet in just a minute. To prepare your papers, you want one piece for the front cover that is 4.25 inches wide by 5.75 inches high. For the back cover, same thing, 4.75 inches by 5.75 inches. And each of these, I place the corresponding letters on the back of them so I know what they are. So the left inside on the envelope will go here, and it is going to measure 4.75 inches wide and 5 7/8 inches long. The right hand side is the same thing, 4.75 inches by 5 7/8 inches. For the outside and the inside smaller flaps, these two pieces, right now, they just need to be at least 1.5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. We're going to cut these in a moment to be the shape of the flaps. And then this is all the stuff that is going to be the decorative cover. For the actual inserts in the album, we are going to need to have a couple of more pieces. These ones need to be 5.75 inches tall by at least 1.5 inches wide. And these are going to actually tuck inside the pockets that we're going to make. And then we're going to need a variety of papers for the photo mat. So I just have 4 pieces here. They're all 4.25 by 5.75. I put M's on them for mat, and we'll use these at the end. So we're going to set these pieces aside for now. You will also need 2 circles. I use the 1-inch circle punch for this, and 2 brads that we're going to use to make the closure. You will need something to make the twine closure, so I'm using this. And then for the inside, if you choose to add a journal, you will want some elastic cord, and you'll want to make your photo booklet as many pages as you choose. I already have mine made from the one that I started already. It is measuring 5.5 inches by 4.5 inches, or 4.25 inches. So 4.25 by 5.5. So I took a piece of paper that was 8.5 and I cut it to 5.5, and then I scored it to make these booklets, and I rounded the corners. So this is 8.5 inches, and I just cut it at the 5.5 side, scored it down the middle to make my booklet. And so we'll set this off to the side because we won't be using this until the end. And then you also might want some little bits and scraps if you're going to decorate your journal. So I just have a couple of these pieces cut out that we'll use later as well. The first step that you want to start with for the envelope is to make sure you have the flap on the left-hand side. You can go ahead and close it. And we are going to score this at 4.5 inches. And so I've already done this, but you're going to score at 4.5 inches, and then that's going to give us our fold line. So we're going to go ahead and fold on the score line. And make sure that it folds over. And there is going to be our booklet. We're actually going to cut this end off next. So we're going to open it back up, and you're just going to cut off a little tiny sliver, so there's not going to be a whole lot cut off. So just go ahead and line it up. And you'll see that it's just a very tiny piece that gets cut off. So now when we close it, it doesn't quite meet that, and it closes nice and flat. So we've got our front cover, our outer flap, our inner flap, our right and left side pages, and our back cover. So we're going to set the paper trimmer aside for now, and we're going to start assembling the pages. So I'm going to take my front and back covers, my left and right covers, and the inside and outside pieces. So we're going to cut the inside and outside pieces next. You will need scissors and a pencil for this. So what I like to do is open the envelope and take my outside piece first and line it up with where you want it to be, and make sure that it doesn't move when you do this. And then trace so now you have the actual pattern of the shape of the envelope flap. You'll cut it out. And now you have a piece that is the same exact size. So we're going to take our paper trimmer one more time, and we're going to just slightly cut off this edge so that's just a little tiny bit smaller. And I'm going to actually put the flat edge on the 1.5 on my paper trimmer. And cut off just a small piece. And now it'll be just a little bit smaller, and I'm going to slightly cut these edges here. So you see I have a small border around the entire piece. And once I have this piece, I'm going to take my second strip. This one goes here. So I'm going to make sure that this you want the opposite sides together, and then you're going to just trace around this. And cut this out. And now we have our inside piece and our outside piece is cut. The next step is to start to glue the different pages down. So we're going to turn these papers over and we're going to start gluing them where they belong. You can use any kind of glue. I'm using tacky glue. You can also use double-sided tape if you want. On this piece, we want to make sure that it does not go over that fold line here or it will not seal, and it does not go over the score line here, and that it does not glue down the paper to the actual envelope and glue the envelope together. We have our inside two done, and it will still be one, but once we poke our holes for our elastic, it will seal that pocket. If you do not want to put elastic in the journal inside of it, you just want to make sure that you seal this, and so you can put some double-sided tape or some glue inside of there to seal that so that there are two separate pockets. The next thing we're going to do is take those two strips that we cut that were 5 3/4 and at least 1.5 inches, and we're going to place these inside of these pockets because we're going to be taking a circle punch and poking a notch in here so that you can tell that this is a pocket. So I'm actually going to use my punch first and poke my circles. Next, we're going to glue on the front and back covers. I made a mistake while recording, so you do not want to glue on the front cover yet, but you do want to glue on the back cover. Next, we're going to take our two circles and we're going to glue them together first. Then we're going to poke a hole in the center. I've already marked mine. We're going to take one of the brads and place it down through the paper. This one is going to go on this side here. So what we're going to do is decide where we want this to be on the cover. So once this is covered, the other piece will be here and this one will be here. This piece should be attached to the front piece before it is glued down, but since I forgot to do that, I'm going to show you a different way that you can do this. So I'm going to decide where to place this. I'm going to center this. And I want my brad and the button to be right about here. So I'm just going to mark this, open this up, and poke a hole through all these layers. Then I'm going to take the button and insert it through the layers to the inside and open up the prongs on the brad. Next, I'm going to take a piece of masking tape and I'm going to place this inside to cover up these prongs on the brad. That way, whenever we slip our photo mat inside of it, it won't get caught on there. And so the inside of it, you should be able to see the piece of tape. And so there's our closure. The next thing we're going to do is take our outer piece and glue it on. Once it's glued on, you're going to take your other brad and decide where to place it. Because this anchor is right here, I'm going to place this at the tip of this anchor. It's almost directly across from there, so I'm going to do that. If you like the look of the little circles and the buttons, you can take more paper and you can make another one like the policy envelopes have, and you can place the brad in another button here as well. So I'm going to poke my hole and then I'm going to take what I'm using for the closure and I'm going to thread this just a little bit through the hole. Then I'm going to open up the prongs on the brad a little bit so that they're one on each side. And the material is in between. And then I'm going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to fold both prongs over the same exact direction to hold that knot. And take one more piece of my masking tape and place it over the entire thing. This will secure it in place to where it won't come off. And then decide how much you want. And if you're going to have a charm hanging down like I did with the other one, leave some room so that you can add the charm later. Now we're going to add the decorative paper on top to hide that. And now we have all of our papers on. The base of the booklet is done. The next thing we're going to do is take our photo mat papers and we're going to glue them together. I'm going to use a photo rounder, a corner rounder, and round all the edges of my photo mats. If you want, you can add embellishments to your photo mats, or you can leave them plain. Place one photo mat in each of the pockets. The final thing to do is the insert. So I have my little booklet here. Like I said, it is just 2 pieces of plain white cardstock that I folded over and made into a booklet. I've used a corner rounder on the corners. I would recommend at least doing the inside 2 corners because that's going to make it fit easier into the elastic. So we're going to take the photo mats out for this next step so we don't poke a hole in them. And we are going to line this photo booklet up on the spine so that it is in the center and closes like this. And then we're going to mark right where those corners start to be rounded. That's where we're going to poke our holes for the elastic. Take one end of the elastic and poke it through the hole. Flip it over. Poke it through the hole. Open up your pages, set them inside. Tie a knot. And now you have the booklet in place. And like I said, you can add as many pages as you want, and you can always remove these and change them out if you want. So we're going to add our photo mats back into the pockets. And then if you want to, you can take some decorative pieces of the paper and decorate the pages in the book. So I've just taken a couple and I'm going to put this one here on the front of the booklet. And I am just going to glue the sides of these almost like a little belly band, so that way something can be tucked down underneath of it, a photo or a piece of memorabilia, if this isn't used just for journaling. So then something can slide all the way underneath this band. I'm going to do these pieces on the middle pages, and I'm going to just glue the strip down. And then on the back cover, just something nice and simple. So now you'll see our booklet is a little bit thicker. And work your paper a little bit here to make sure that it folds over. And then take your string. Now the last thing, if you add a charm to it, you're gonna loop your charm and it'll hang down like this one here. And this nice little anchor charm. But for this one, I'm not gonna add a charm. I'm just going to add a knot to the end of it. And there's our photo booklet. The nice thing about these little wallet style albums is that they can be tucked down into a bag or purse. They can be given to someone. They're pretty easy and they're not very difficult to make, and they're a great way to use your scraps. So I hope you try this project and let me know how it goes.